Hey, what is up guys, it's Diego and welcome back to the Movie Spot. Today we are going to be looking at the Wendigo, a man-eating creature from real-life folklore that Stephen King incorporated into his novel, Pet Sematary. Now I'm going to be honest, I wasn't really looking forward to watching Pet Sematary, mainly because I feel like after watching the original one, I wasn't really into it. But then I heard about the possible appearance of the Wendigo, which I've heard briefly about in the real-life folklore, but really I don't really know much about, and I figured it'd be fun to do some research and do a video on it, so here we are. Also, at the time that I'm recording this, Pet Sematary has not been released. By the time this video goes up, Pet Sematary would have already been released and people would have watched it, so I'm sorry if I'm saying something that's not necessarily accurate with the movie, which you've probably already seen before watching this video. So please just keep that in mind. But anyways, despite being a major antagonist in the book, the Wendigo made no appearance in the 1989 movie adaptation of Pet Sematary. But again, according to some sources, the Wendigo may make some sort of appearance in the new 2019 remake. So because of that, today we're going to be taking a close look at the Wendigo in both the novel and real-life legend. So starting with the real-life folklore, the Wendigo is a mythical creature or evil spirit that roamed the northern regions of the United States and Canada. The legend's name comes from the medical term Wendigo psychosis, a condition in which one craves for human flesh. The creature itself is a traditional belief of the Algonquian people, a common North American native language group who reside along the Atlantic coast and along the St. Lawrence River and the Great Lakes. The Algonquians see the Wendigo as a malevolent and cannibalistic monster that's associated with tragedies such as famine. The Wendigo is described as a giant beast, so thin the outlines of his bones and skull could be made out through its skin. And despite being very thin, it's also considered a gluttonous creature, since it never seems to be satisfied after killing and devouring a person. But because of that, it's always starving, resulting in its thin figure. Now there's a lot of stories as to what the Wendigo is and what it represents, but as far as real life folklore goes, this is probably the most accurate information I could find. But if you guys happen to come across any more information in regards to the history or origins of the Wendigo, then let me know down in the comments down below, because maybe it might give us more context as to what this creature is, preparing us for what we might see in Pet Sematary. Now let's see Stephen King's version of the Wendigo, which I have to say is very accurate to the real life folklore, which I really do appreciate from a lot of authors out there. And that's what's great about Stephen King's book. He puts a lot of effort into research to make sure that his stories, the background and the history of it, is as accurate as possible, which is definitely the case for his book Pet Sematary. Because in the book, the Wendigo did inhabit the northern regions of North America and eventually made its way to Maine, where it ran into the Micmac burial ground with the Pet Sematary not far away. The Wendigo cursed the burial ground so that if anything once alive were to be buried there, they would reanimate within a short period as an evil, murderous version of who they once were. Because of this, the town's residents packed up their things and resettled elsewhere. It's because of the Wendigo's dark powers that anything that was once alive falls under its possession. The Wendigo would also roam through the Micmac's village in the night, looking for victims to fall under its dark influence by merely touching them. One touch from the Wendigo causes people and/or animals to have a taste for human flesh. The Wendigo is also known to manipulate people. In fact, throughout the book, the Wendigo uses its dark powers not to possess people, but to make them go against their better judgment. It's this power that makes Judge show Lewis the Pet Sematary, and that causes the truck driver to hit Lewis's son, Gage. Knowing this, I feel like it was a mistake taking the Wendigo out of the 1989 movie, because as I watched that movie as a kid, I didn't really understand what was happening, and I felt like, why would anybody in their right mind lead someone to a pet cemetery? Had they added in the Wendigo, that would have explained why Judd, clearly the wisest out of all the characters, would have gone against his better judgment to lead Lewis to the pet cemetery. Which again, I don't think anybody would do under any sort of circumstance, even if it meant resurrecting your kid's dead cat so they don't hate you because you were the one who was supposed to be taking care of it while they were gone. So now knowing all of this information, I really do hope they add in the Wendigo in the movie, and if they do, I'll probably do a follow-up video explaining the Wendigo in the movie, because chances are that one may be different from both the novel and the real-life folklore. And I want them to add this into the movie just because I really want to see what the Wendigo looks like. While I was researching for this video, I noticed that a lot of people had different ideas of what the Wendigo actually looked like, mainly being a bipedal deer-like creature. Based on some of the imagery I saw and the ideas I read, other people think that it might be something different or look like something different. I'm also confused as to whether or not this creature is an evil spirit or a physical being. I'm not really sure because based on what I've researched, it's an evil spirit. But I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that it's an evil spirit because I feel like that's more believable that an evil spirit would curse a burial ground than a physical being, although I'm not really sure because I don't know, guys, leave me alone. So do you guys think that the Wendigo will show up in the new Pet Sematary movie? Do you think it might not? I don't know. If you guys want to comment down below what you think, then go ahead and do that down in the comments down below. But I think that's pretty much it, guys. I gave you all the information I had and researched about the Wendigo in both the novel and real-life folklore. So this is pretty much all I got for now. If I find out any more information, I'll probably do an update video later in the future. Not really sure when that's going to be. It could be a few weeks from now. It could be a few months from now. I have other movies to cover because, you know, I like doing this so much. But again, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys enjoy Pet Sematary. Real quick before you guys go, I got some big updates to tell you about. First one being that because I like doing this so much, I'm going to go ahead and do a weekly episode of this every Saturday around noon. Yeah, that's right, guys. That means a new movie Monsters Explained every Saturday. So be sure to look out for that. Also, I know I've been covering a lot of recent movies, you know, all the 2019 movies, but next week is going to be different, seeing how there's not really anything else to cover after this. So I'm going to go ahead and do something that I wanted to do for a while on this channel, and you know, this channel has only really been active for like 3 weeks. But don't worry, it's still going to be a Monsters Explained. It's just going to be based on something I truly love. But I'm not going to spoil the surprise now. If you guys really want to see what this is, then stay tuned for next week's video. But that's all I have for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and please have a nice day.